Oh yes, hello there. Welcome to the Sacred Chronicles. And today we will be discussing my first chance to finally be a player. Welcome back to the Sacred Art of Gaming. My name is Sacred. This is the Sacred Chronicles, where we detail some of my experiences gaming and some lessons that maybe we can learn from them in a very informal place, in my robe and my fire. Alright, so I finally got to be a player, and like any forever GM who finally gets to be a player, although to a point, I feel like you get to a point where you're just kind of like, whatever, I'll just roll up whatever. You put a lot of pressure and you put a lot of thought into your character because you're like, this might be the only chance I get to be a player character. We did use the Savage Worlds system. It was for Solomon Kane, and I believe this was that person's first time GMing. So hopefully there's more things like that come up next month in January. So yes, it was for Solomon Kane. Also technically not this version of Savage Worlds, which was actually kind of part of the problem. I was like, oh yes, I am an experienced GM and a Savage Worlds GM at that. You should do away with a lot of the Solomon Kane stuff and only use the new stuff because it's just better, because it's new. Not really right. I don't know if how much that would have changed how things went in that game. I believe there was like a grit mechanic or something like that in Solomon Kane. As well as, yeah, there was a few little things. Usually Savage Worlds, their settings have a few things, a few bits and bobs and knobs that you can turn and twist a little bit to make it feel a little different. And we kind of did away with some of it based on my recommendation, which I don't know if that was right. I probably should have let that person make that decision on their own without like being a little overbearing. So that's definitely a lesson learned that, you know, I try to be more hands-off and let people figure things out on their own, even if they, even if they're just wrong. Nobody likes, like, that's not even a rules lawyer. I'm not even sure. You're just overbearing, I guess. And, you know, if they ask for help, sure, that's something completely different. But as far as like kind of jumping in there and be like, yes, you need to do this, and then you need to do that, and then you need to do this, and then do this here, and this will be good. Yeah, maybe try not to do that. I did also notice too that I think that GM did give my character some stuff that probably shouldn't have happened, and then I nerfed myself later, but I kind of accidentally manipulated the GM through like some of the stuff that was being used in the old version, the new version. But yeah, just another kind of weird thing to be aware of. But my first character, let's talk about him. I want to grab the mini. Behold, my first custom mini. Hopefully it'll focus on him and not me. Hello. No, it's not gonna do it. As you can see, I get a little carried away with the wash. His skin color could probably be cleaner considering he's like a bard. But yeah, first custom mini, painted him. Really proud of that. It's really neat. His name is Frederick Von Page, which anyone who knows Frederick Von Page knows that that is funny for me to say, because one of the things that he did, he had a quirk. He had a few quirks, but anywhere he would go, he would say, you know, hello, my name is Frederick Von Page. Maybe you've heard of me. Even if they don't ask who he is, he makes sure he introduces himself and then also insinuates that you probably already know who I am, but I'm gonna let you know anyways. And then sometimes even taking it as far as like giving them an autograph. So almost anytime there was a writing utensil around or, you know, we needed to sign something, or maybe not sign something, but maybe we needed to like write something or draw something, like put something on a map or something, he would a lot of times sign his name. So yeah, I couldn't help myself, and I was very silly with Frederick Von Page. So he was kind of like very similar to the Bard in The Witcher, to some degree. Frederick Von Page, which I remember taking like rock artists and kind of slamming their names together to get his name. I don't even remember. Was it Freddie Mercury maybe? Von, probably Van Halen, and then Page, Jimmy Page maybe. That's probably it. So yeah, he was basically a bard. Did a lot of supporting type stuff through Savage Worlds. I had a friend who said that Savage Worlds, that you can't be a good support character. I took that as a challenge. I made a good support character, but I also had a blunderbuss. So had similar rules as a shotgun in Savage Worlds. So if anyone did get in my face, they're getting 3d6. So yeah, he was kind of the face of the group, but he also was kind of cowardly as well. He did kind of do some silly things. Pretty much every character that I always play, they always have like a weird, they tend to fall into a stereotype. So he had a lot of the bard stereotypes, but then I always do like I throw a weird thing in there, always. And in this case, a lot of times whenever he would be in a town where like prostitution was available as an option, he would always partake, but he actually would kind of he didn't sleep with the prostitutes. He kind of treated them to like a nice day, like almost like a date, but not even like sexual. So it was, I don't know. We never really got to unpack why that was, but it was a thing that would pop up here and there that Frederick Von Page would do. There were some theories, but we'd never technically finished that campaign now that I think about it. Yeah, I guess we never finished it, so I don't know, we'll never know. But some additional mistakes that I made. I got very excited, and I had a little like purple like lute in and out of game. I guess it wasn't a lute out of game, it was a tiny guitar, ukulele. Not even playing it, I don't even know if it's like a child's toy, so I don't know if you can really play it. So I would just strum it, and then, I don't know, maybe once every few sessions, I would do a twist on a song whenever I did like a performance, because you can do a performance to get money in the game, and which I think also increased your fame. There's a fame edge, so people actually were starting to know who Frederick Von Page was. And that was probably a little much, you know, to basically take like a Linkin Park song or a Queen song and like just twist the words to be in Solomon Kane based on the things that we were doing. I don't know. I think the GM may have appreciated it sometimes, but then sometimes it was probably like, hey man, like we want to play the game. So yeah, that's whenever I realized very quickly that after being used to GMing for so long, as I'm GMing, even when I'm not like actively doing something and the players are just doing stuff, I'm always like writing stuff down, and I'm always like scheming and thinking of like, oh, you know, where's this gonna go next? But also, where's this gonna go like a few weeks from now? Because they're doing this, and it's making me think of how it affects this other thing. And I'm just kind of writing down these planted seeds that may grow into something later or not. But I'm always on. I'm always on. Whereas being a player, you're very limited in what you can do, which is kind of weird because you're driving it. Right? Are you? Who is driving it? Is it the GM or the player? In my heart, I feel like it's the player. They are the driver, but the GM is the car, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I just felt like as the GM, I'm like, you know, doing stuff with the steering wheel, I'm doing stuff with the engine, I'm doing stuff with the shock absorbers at all times, whereas the player, you know, they're really just, you know, turning and hitting the gas or hitting the brakes, and that's it. And then when it's someone else's turn, you just listen. And I just remember wanting to be a good player so bad, and I do still want that. I feel like, in a weird way, I feel like it's easier to be a good GM than it is to be a good player. Because being a good player, you're at the mercy of the ocean of the story. Whereas the GM, you are the ocean, just to make another analogy. But yeah, you can't really help like where the tide is pulling you because of the other players, but also like the GM, and you know, you don't have enough information to really make a good determination into what the best thing is to do. There are times where I thought I was being a helpful player, and then it felt like the obvious thing, like maybe like helping a character not die, and then they're like, hey man, like let me die. I just want my character to die. It's like, oh, okay, all right. Sorry I was helpful. I had no idea. And when you are used to, and this is kind of like out of game 2, I'm almost always doing like multiple things at one time, and being a player, you really kind of, it's almost best to like sit there and listen to what is happening and think about like how your character may feel about that. But it's hard for me to do that for extended periods of time. It's easier for me to do it as a GM because in the background I'm like pulling strings, but as a player, all I can do is like nudge and think about like, oh, what is my character, do they care about anything that just happened, or will they care? I don't know, but you know, I'll take a mental note, but that's about as far as that can go. So yeah, I don't think this necessarily has to be a super long Sacred Chronicle. That's really it. Those are kind of my tips and my thoughts. Is, you know, sometimes the grass isn't always greener. Like maybe being a GM is really just what I prefer. Maybe I like the world building and, you know, pulling on the strings more than I actually like being a character, which is so crazy because I want to be a character so bad. It's weird. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any thoughts, if you've felt similar, let me know in the comments down below. Very curious. Until next time, this has been Sacred with the Sacred Art of Gaming. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe for future content and problems. We got plenty of them here. This has been Sacred signing out. My name is Frederick Von Page. Maybe you've heard of me. The accent was never the same. It would change. It would just, sometimes it would sound like Borat. Hello there, my name is Frederick Von Page. I need to do a video on voices. That's coming too. Frederick Von Page. Maybe you've heard of me. Oh no, a creature! Beat it, nerds!